Welcome to What's Your St. John Story, a 30-minute segment sponsored by St. John's United, highlighting connectivity within our community through storytelling. I'm Rachel Simonson. I serve at the St. John's Foundation, and today we are talking to Jamie Rettig of St. John's United Family Services and Kaycee Chiefstick, who is a client of St. John's United Family Services. And we're specifically talking about the C.A.R.E.S program today, which we've brought to you before, but we are about a year in now, Jamie, on the C.A.R.E.S program. And tell us a little bit more about who you are, the role that you play at St. John's, and a little bit more about C.A.R.E.S in general.
Yeah, so like you said, this program started about a year ago. I started at St. John's, and the C.A.R.E.S program is specifically, it's a wraparound program that was brought in to help families stay stable and healthy and intact together. And so we started serving clients actually in January of this year. And Kaycee was one of our first clients, actually, I think the first referral we've got. So it's exciting to have her here. The program is very simple, just a way of supporting families and helping them recognize and build on their strengths to make some goals and a family vision. And so we move forward with that. So my background, sorry I didn't start with that, is I have been in the social services field for 20 plus years in various areas and working with kids and families in crisis a lot. And so this was a perfect kind of fit of both some administrative and building things, which is very fun for me, and working with then families like Kaycee and other folks in our community. So
thank you. And we'll introduce Kaycee here in just a moment, but St. John's United Family Services is fully integrated into the life of St. John's United. And while most people think of us as services for older adults, we have services that span what we like to call the arc of life. And so we work with people from birth to death and everyone in between. And the C.A.R.E.S program is something that has come to us through a grant opportunity offered through Lutheran Services in America. And C.A.R.E.S actually stands for something. Jamie, what does C.A.R.E.S stand for?
C.A.R.E.S stands for Coordination, Advocacy, Resources, Education, and Support. And C.A.R.E.S, this particular model of wraparound is, we're replicating from a program out of Florida, Brevard County. They have found it extremely successful there. And so part of this grant was for three other communities. So there's one in South Dakota, one in Alaska, and us. And then there's a fourth in Washington, but they already have a similar program to replicate this C.A.R.E.S model. And so working on the coordination, the advocacy, resources, all of that for community folks.
All right. And Kaycee, as a parent who's been supported by C.A.R.E.S, this is a completely parent-driven program. It's based on your goals. Tell us a little bit about what was going on in your world and how you found St. John's United Family Services and the C.A.R.E program.
Well, what was going on in my world is unmanageability. It felt like everything was collapsing around me. My son has ADHD and he was failing in school. He was struggling so bad that we were looking up referrals to a hospital school. So we were, what is it? We were, I don't know what to call the word. We were just trying to get every single resource and go down the line and process of following order with kids who have ADHD and what resources they can have, and having to get there just to that point to get what you need. You have to go through all the processes. And so the principal at Okalai Creek Elementary School heard about the wraparound program, this new program that was for families who were in need, and she knew that it was the perfect fit for us. And at that point I was ready to try anything for my son and my family and do whatever it took to get us in a healthy place and make sure that we didn't have to become just become a part of the world in a negative way. I wanted to be able to show my children that there's more to the world than the struggle and having to go through hospitals and programs and just wanting to find the best. And so I had that in my heart to find the best for us, and that's when the St. John's Wraparound program came around and the referral was put in and we were accepted, and I think it was just a perfect match from the start.
Great. And do you have other children as well in your family?
Yeah, I have 3 boys. One is 9 years old, he's the oldest. His name's Isaac, Israel, and Emmanuel. So Israel is the one with ADHD. He's 8, and Emmanuel is 3.
So when you have a child who is struggling, it affects the entire family.
It does.
And things can go downward in a big hurry
Yeah.
if you don't have some interventions. So I'm going to ask Jamie to talk a little bit, with your permission, Kaycee, about the
course.
intervention plan that you put together and how the C.A.R.E.S program supported your plan.
Of course.
Yeah, so like Kaycee said, we received a referral from the principal of her school, just with a little bit of information saying we have this really cool family. We know that there's potential for some big things to happen, whether those are the wrong direction or the direction towards being healthy. We know that Kaycee wants her family to be healthy and whatnot, and so we think that they would be a good fit for you. Now, there's ADHD involved, there's, some issues at school. There's also other things. I mean, there's a history of just Kaycee learning to parent and being, she knows she's a great parent, but just some of those things as the boys get older, and being a single mom is extremely difficult, and being in a community where there's no family, and trying to find those support networks and those people that can be her people. And as we grow up, we take bits of trauma, we take bits of things with us into our adulthood, and that affects how we parent, how we are in the world. And so we got that referral and we met with Kaycee, and I think it would be best to say that you were super overwhelmed and just very concerned that she was not being the best parent. From the very beginning, it was a very clear, I want to be a good parent for my boys. They deserve the best, and I feel like they're not getting that right now, and so what can we do? So we, as the C.A.R.E.S program, look at the strengths right away. And so I could list endless strengths for Kaycee that we saw right away. Just the fact that she was open to help and would say to the principal, say to Tammy, yeah, sign me up, I'll do whatever it takes. That's not always the case, but it was for Kaycee. Very resilient, very determined. I could say that times 10. She's very determined. But then we asked Kaycee, what are strengths of your family? Tell us about your boys. Tell us. And I remember her saying they're very kind, they're good listeners, they're good brothers to each other, they want to do well, there's some athletic pieces of them, they love their family, and so they also are not the 3 amigos, but the 4 amigos. They come as a package, and that's also a strength. They do a lot of things together, they spend all this time, finding things to do around Billings. So we look at those strengths, and then we kind of looked at some areas of where are some needs, some areas of needs. We kind of look at these different components. Is it housing? Is it financial? Is it education? Is there mental health pieces? And so through that, Kaycee was able to tell us her story, because it's very much about Kaycee and her family and what they need, because every family is different. And so we can't make a plan based on me and what I need, or based on what I think Kaycee needs, but it's tell us kind of what are some needs, some areas that you really want support, and then let's bring in those people that may be able to help fulfill those goals. We also asked from the very beginning, life will be better when? And so Kaycee, when asked that question, created a family vision, and the family vision was to be, and is to be, a happy, healthy family with a strong, get things done mother. And so that was her vision in January. That continues to be her vision. And so every goal that she's worked on with support has been towards that family vision. And also utilizing the strengths of determination and resiliency and being open to new things, building on those goals. And so Kaycee and the boys have accomplished, I mean, we've checked a lot of things off the care plan list. And so that's kind of how it started, and it's just progressed. And so
Everything got checked off, basically.
I didn't want to say it, but a lot of it was just saying, Kaycee, she will say we did it, and we will say she did it. And so I'm sure she'll tell you more to that extent, but just kind of finding ways to support her in what she needs and what is important to her family.
Absolutely, and I'm going to draw Kaycee back in. If you don't mind, Kaycee, talk a little bit about some of those things, the strengths that you saw, the places where you wanted to achieve more, and how this is perhaps going to be a lifelong journey for you as a parent, because kids never stop finding trouble, right?
Yeah.
Or causing mischief, or just being rascals in general, especially three boys together, right?
Right.
So how have you found that this program has helped you reframe how those things affect your family?
Well, it's helped me kind of anchor down and take a breath and take a look and see what that family vision was, like Jamie was saying, and what do I want to be as a parent? What are important to me, for my boys to get in the home to make us a healthy family? And I would just let Jamie and the other peer supports know exactly what it was that I thought I needed at that time to make us successful. And they would bring the supplies, they would bring the referrals, they would set a time, we would meet up, and we would just kind of lay out a plan to execute, and then we would continue. And it was a process getting things done, but they would get done eventually, and we'd move on to the next thing. So I guess just structure was very important. Structure, being able to have a foundation laid where we couldn't be knocked off of that foundation by anybody or by anything that would come at us in the world. So to build that together when I didn't have anybody, for them to come in and do that with me.
So how did you engage your boys? Did you do this work with them in conjunction with Jamie and her team? Or are they kind of on the outskirts, just being recipients of all the goodness that has happened?
They are the recipients, but they are also involved with, they are involved very much, because everything we do is either something going on in the community, and I let them know why we get to come here, who helped us to get here, do you remember who these people are, letting them know who Jamie, Anna, and Sarah were, just so that they, can appreciate what we're doing. And I mean, not so much with the work that we were doing.
No, I mean, part of it, they're super young. They were involved in
a chore chart.
There was a chore chart and just home structure, and they made those together, like they created them, and stickers and things that they're willing to participate in with the family. And so there's those pieces of it.
Counseling. They are going to counseling. That was one of the things too that they go to. So they're involved in counseling still, all three of them. Their chore charts are hanging up in our house. They got to decorate them, and they use their dry erase markers every week, and kind of what that looks like for them if they finish those, and what they get at the end of the week, and keeping that consistency up with that. So yeah, they're just recipients, and they're kids. Kids need structure, and when they get it, it's natural. So I knew getting that in there as soon as possible for my young kids was important.
And you've been doing this work now since January, is that right?
Yes.
And what have you seen in your kids? What has What's been the biggest difference? Or maybe in yourself?
Okay. The biggest difference. Oh, they've come a long way, and so have I. I have a lot more confidence in who I am as a parent and who I am as a person, and that I can stand on my own 2 feet. That I think I was broken. We were all broken as a family when St. John's wraparound, referred us. So we're an independent family now, doing our end of life and doing our responsibilities in life and consistently keeping up with that. So that's got to give someone confidence and a sense of who you are, and closeness, togetherness, trust, hope, I guess. So we're just a lot stronger family now. I mean, we were a family needing all kinds of stuff, and now we're kind of slowly becoming more independent and being able to get out there.
School is going better.
Oh, yeah. So Israel's in regular school. He's in the Delta program at Elkali Creek Elementary School. It's the only program of that kind in the city. It's a special class for children with special and extra needs. We need extra attention. So he is in that classroom, and it took a lot for him to get there. Like I said, to get the resources from school, you've got to go through so many processes to check that off the list, and make sure that they followed all their guidelines to get, you can't just skip over and say they need this. We had to go through everything to get where he is today in school. He's riding the bus. His brothers are riding the bus every day to school. They have friends in the community. Israel didn't used to have friends because he was so closed off, and now he finds his friends out at the park, and he'll hug them and just randomly find his friends out there in the city, and using their manners, saying thank you, doing their chores, helping each other, helping me, being part of, wanting to be that get it done mom. I need them to let them know that, hey, this is our struggle, and I need you guys to step up where you usually wouldn't step up sometimes and help a little bit more. And they're starting to understand that and help. So they're becoming strong, independent little boys too, I guess.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Jamie, this program has really been a blessing for Kaycee and her boys. And it really is designed to help keep families intact, because we know that when families are broken, like you said, things can unravel very quickly. And a lot of the work of St. John's United is helping unexpected, pregnancies, people facing those, learn how to be a parent so that downstream things go smoothly. And sometimes things don't go smoothly downstream, and so now this is an intervention to make sure that as the kids grow, things go better and can be an intact, whole, healthy family. Because we know that if we don't stop things early, it just costs a lot of anguish, emotional anguish, financial anguish for families and communities. What's the ultimate goal of this program?
I mean, I think that's it. I think so. There's a quote I love that I have. It's been a huge part of my journey. Is we're just all walking each other home. So we're just all in this journey of taking care of each other, of getting people from point A to point B, and looking out for each other. So the goal of this program is to do that. I mean, this is a no-nonsense way of helping families feel confident and supported and move through crisis in a way that maybe wouldn't happen if they didn't have this kind of support. We don't want youth to end up in the foster care system or juvenile justice system or those sorts of things. There are reasons for those systems, right? And sometimes there's safety concerns and all of those things. But if a family could just get a little support in these, just tiny ways. Like I said, just walking Kaycee home, just we've done a lot of cheerleading for Kaycee, and and she's done the work. And so, what a unique thing. So the goal is to keep families healthy and in homes, and to keep foster youth from not growing. I mean, one of the statistics is Montana is in the top of the nation for youth removed and placed into foster care. That's changing a little bit. This, as a state, we're developing some new goals and ways to prevent that. And so ultimately this program is one of those ways to prevent those things. Each of our families looks a little different. I don't know that Kaycee's boys would have ended up in care or anything like that, but we have families that are in and out of the system or have been in care. And so those youth going home, what can we do to keep them in home and not have them transition back and forth? Because the trauma of all of that is extreme for both the parent and the youth. So, I mean, that's the goal, isn't it? I mean, it's for our community, it's to have healthy families. And health looks different to everybody. And we're all going to have crisis and problems and issues. But now Kaycee has learned some skills, and our families are hopefully learning some skills, and also who to reach out to. I think Kaycee feels more confident in asking her neighbors for help, or saying to her sponsor or the boys' counselor or whatever it may be that, hey, something's a little off. Can you help? I don't know what help means, but I just need somebody right now. Whereas that wasn't something that was easily done for her in the past. And so with that support, the crisis will look a little different in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I just have to acknowledge to Kaycee how brave it was to reach out to a program like this, to ask for the help in the first place, and then to come and tell the community your story. What an incredible thing to do for yourself and your kids, first of all, and then to share with the rest of us. So what has been your takeaway as you move forward here? Is it really the reaching out for help, realizing that it takes a village to raise a family, and you have a village? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I think it is. And my takeaway is actually getting down with families and being that extra support that we didn't get somewhere along the way, and thoroughly finishing that work so that it's not being brought up again, like Jamie was saying, so we can execute that issue that has been keeping families down for so long, lifting them up, and then setting them on their way to be a part of the community in a healthy way. Truly being vulnerable and serious about wanting to change your life and live a better life, and finding what's out there while you have the support you have to go and get it. So my takeaway has just been that there is really a program out there that does fully help you, and doesn't leave you hanging, and doesn't help you halfway, that doesn't just leave you high and dry and then forget about you. No, they're going to sit down and stay with you until you feel that you can do it on your own. And it's just it's amazing that there's a program here in Billings, Montana, and out there in the world that you can say that for.
Fantastic. And we called this segment Picking Up the Pieces because you were gracious enough to allow St. John's United to place your thoughts on our website. And your quote was, "Our life was broken into pieces. St. John's C.A.R.E.S helped me pick up the pieces and create a foundation that will last forever."
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing your story. We'll be back to you in just a second here. But Jamie, if somebody in the community knows of a family, is a family that could use a little bit more support, recognizes some things that we're talking about here today that would be beneficial for themselves or people they care about, how do they find you?
Well, they can go to the St. John's website, and under services, their family service department, our information about C.A.R.E.S is there, with my phone number and email address. That's where I would start. Just give me a call, and we'll go from there. Just kind of see where you're at and what would be where we can go.
And that's stjohnsunited.org.
Yes.
www.stjohnsunited.org. Well, we are winding down with our time together here, and I would like to ask each of you to reflect on the question that I ask everybody here. If I were to run into you in the community and asked you, what's your St. John story? How would you respond? Which one of you would like to respond first?
My St. John story it's unfolding. I think I was here about a year ago, and St. John's it's like this new part of the new chapter of my life, and bringing all these components together, and it's been a unique, amazing experience, and I've been very grateful for the chance to be a part of St. John's as a whole, and also this particular program. And so my St. John's story is just one of like hope and fun. I'm excited about what's next. So
great. And Kaycee, had you ever interacted much with St. John's at all?
Nope, just seeing all the facilities driving by.
Sure, just driving by.
Yeah.
So now being more deeply served by St. John's, what would you say is your St. John's story?
My St. John's story would be that it is a place for everybody. Nobody is excluded. Just have to be ready, vulnerable, and committed to receiving the help that you need, and you'll get it.
Thank you. All right. Well, what a lovely conversation. And keep up the good work with your family. Jamie, keep up the good work with all of the families that you do. Thank you both for being here and sharing your story today. That has been another segment of What's Your St. John's Story. We hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to know more about the C.A.R.E.S program, again, go to stjohnsunited.org. And if you are interested in knowing how to support this program at St. John's, I would encourage you to check out ways that you can donate to St. John's and the St. John's United C.A.R.E.S program as well, because we are grant funded for this program, and the grant funding will not last forever, and this program is making a difference in our community, making a difference in the lives of others. So thank you again for watching.
For generations, St. John's has united us with its uplifting vision and lives it has touched. There are thousands of stories about St. John's. Prayers answered for a long-awaited adoption, pain-free relief after healing from injury, settling into a new home for the next phase of life, the comfort of compassionate end-of-life care, the joy that comes from volunteering, and at-home help that supports the fullest life. At St. John's, we are creating community and bringing families together. We offer many services for home, health, and family, from childcare, support for an unplanned pregnancy, and physical therapy, to home health care, senior living services, and hospice care. For all times of life, we are here for you. The heartwarming stories of St. John's are woven into the fabric of our community. What's your St. John's story?